ABC Sports presents, live from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the Pro Bowlers Tour. Today it's the $125,000 Miller High Life Open. And the final 5 bowlers competing for the $21,000 first prize are Paul Moser from Somerset, Massachusetts. 1979 Bowler of the Year, Mark Roth. Tom Baker from Buffalo, New York. Dave Frame from Baldwin Park, California. And looking to be the year's first double winner, tournament leader, Alvin Lou. Ladies and gentlemen, the beautiful Red Carpet CelebrityLanes. And what a joy to be back for the 15th consecutive year for another Miller High Life Open. It's a big one, and one we enjoy because of the people here in the state of Wisconsin. Good afternoon. I'm Chris Schenkel, and outside there's a touch of spring in the air. And we're going to have an interesting field today, and I know there's going to be great action on our live coverage here in our 19th year, our 14th stop with 2 to go. In 1972, my colleague Nelson Burton Jr. won the Miller High Life Open. So we're glad to welcome him back here as our expert commentator. Hi, Bo.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Great.
This has been a great crowd. In Milwaukee, they know their beer, and they know their bowling.
Hey.
And the crowd has been sensational. And our top 5 players, after 42 games, they're sensational, too. In the first match, we have a little left-hander we haven't seen in a while, a former U.S. Open champion, Paul Moser. He's going against the Bowler of the Year, Mark Roth. The winner of that match goes against Tommy Baker. Tommy's been steady for the last 2 years, but has never cracked the winner's circle yet on the PBA Tour. Today could be his day. In the number 2 position is Dave Frame, and I think Dave has the chance to do it today because of the pin carry. There's been a lot of solid 10s, a lot of solid 4s left here, and Dave Frame is rolling the ball right at the foul line. He looks like he has the carrying edge. But in order to win the title, the Miller Open, he has to get it by Alvin Lou. Alvin won the Rolaids Open in St. Louis. He can be the first 2-time winner we've had in 1980.
Look forward to your commentary,
We'll
Bo.
do it, Chris.
Nelson Burton Jr. So, ladies and gentlemen, $125,000 at stake. $21,000 will go to the winner of the Miller High Life Open with a good breakdown in the purse. Paul Moser, Mark Roth. In our first match, we'll be returning to Milwaukee, Wisconsin after this.
The Pro Bowlers Tour. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Ford, the better idea people, who invite you to see all their exciting new cars and the first new truck for the 80s. By Firestone, makers of the 721 steel-belted radial. In 78 years, Firestone has never built a tire in which they've had more confidence. And by Monroe, makers of Radiomatic and Monroe Magnum 60 shock absorbers.
First match today, Bowler of the Year. 3 times in a row, Mark Roth going against the number 5 finisher on the right, 5'4" and 32-year-old Paul Moser of Somerset, Massachusetts. Paul will be shooting first on the left lane of our championship pair here today. Bo?
Chris, Paul will be playing the outside line on the left-hand lane and an inside line on the right-hand lane. We'll explain why in a minute.
So a big cheer goes up from a standing room only crowd at the Miller High Life Open in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now, Mark Roth, 28 years old, 5'11", 180 pounds, 4th appearance on the Pro Bowlers Tour this year. He hasn't won this year. Well, there's a 4-pin, and we'll probably see a few of those this afternoon.
Powerful Mark Roth, the 6-step delivery. But the key step in Mark's delivery is the 5th step, or the pivot step. Watch his right foot as he drives through to the pins. All the way around, the good lift with the wrist. See his hand coming right behind the ball.
All right, almost in the center now. Looking to cover the 4-pin is the great Mark Roth. Tremendous champion. Member of the Professional Bowlers Association for 10 years, and in the 10 years, he has a total of 22 titles.
Mark Roth, who has never made the top 5 here at CelebrityLanes, said he just started carrying better this week. And that's the 10 and the 4, but he didn't get it the first frame.
Now, second frame, spare up in the first. This is our first match. And lofting it out on the lane. Coming up with his first strike of the afternoon, Mark Roth. And quickly up is short and stocky Paul Moser, who was born in Medford, Massachusetts. Spent most of his life growing up in Brockton, Rocky Marciano's hometown.
Chris, he'll be playing an inside line. Looking down to check his feet. He's standing on about the 20th board on the right-hand lane because he says it hooks a lot more for left-handers. So he's in on one, out on the other.
And this was a lane that he said was by far the most difficult, but Paul Moser has doubled here as we replay the stroke.
5'4" Paul Moser, but he has the arm swing of the same type of player, Gary Dickinson, who's 6'4". Look at that arm locked all the way through the swing. Ideal position, especially for a short man to get all that leverage. Look at how nicely he hits the line. Perpendicular to the foul line, good follow through. He has a double working, can increase his lead to over Roth by 20 with another strike.
Winner of 2 PBA titles. First time on our telecast here in 80. Nope, but he leaves only the 3-pin on the left lane.
Chris, he lost the ball at the bottom of the swing. He dropped it and did not get the lift with that good straight arm swing. He hit his target at the arrow somewhere around the 4th or 5th board on the left-hand lane, but he didn't get the lift and didn't get the finish. Routine spare the 3-pin across lane.
On our finals pair, 212 average. And with these, Mark's in the 3rd frame with a spare of our very first match. And the winner will go on here in our Miller High Life Open finals. It's Tom Baker, Dave Frame, and then Alvin Lou.
As we said, Chris, the key in Celebrity Lanes is pinfall. Watch, apparently a good hit. Mark Roth leaves the 4-9. Watch the 2-pin go to the sideboard. Normally takes out the 4-pin, goes right around it. The 4-9, not impossible, but Roth will give it a chance.
So he has an open frame in the 3rd, now trailing by 21 pins in an ever-changing form of competition, professional bowling. It's a tough way to make it. But Mark will pull things together and shoot now on the left lane. Look how carefully he sets that ball, looks at the spot. He's ready. Sounded so weak, though.
Just a wide shot, Chris. I think the same thing for the right-handers is the same for the lefties. The left-hand lane, lane 63 here at Celebrity, is a little tighter or slicker, and if you send it wide, you're going to hit light. The right-hand lane, as we saw Roth leave the 4-9, it finishes a little harder for both righties and lefties, and he left the 4-9.
And marking by covering the 2-pin in the 4th frame. We'll be back after this. Somerset, Massachusetts, maybe 8 miles from Rehoboth. Here is Paul Moser, who is in the lead by 21 pins, shooting in the 4th, spare working. First match. Well, he thought he had the 7-pin as well on the right lane.
There again, we see another pocket tap. Now, the pins are not that heavy this week. The players are bowling approximately 3-pound 4-ounce, 3-pound 5-ounce pins, which are normally easy for the pros to knock down, Chris. But the sideboard action here is very tough at Celebrity Lanes.
Last year, a man that finished 2nd 3 times. Cross lane, ball coming up and covering the 7. Our first match, Paul Moser and Mark Roth. And there you see 20 pins separating the 2 pros. This is one of your favorite stops on the tour, Bo. I know all of the pros love coming to Milwaukee.
Well, the beer people here at Milwaukee make it so nice for the pros. The conditions are ideal and so professional here at Red Carpet Celebrity Lanes. And again, the prize fund, $125,000. Not bad.
Winner today and our live coverage, 21 grand. Oh, it's a 9, a wobbly 9.
Paul Moser, watch his slide to the foul line. This is a well-practiced young man. He's within a half inch of that foul line. And Chris, as you marked, Dave Frame, who's in our number 2 position, even slides closer and did trip it a couple of times in practice. It could be a factor.
All right. Again, very, very close, putting on the hydraulics. And stopping just in time was Paul Moser, spare in the 5th, and now Mark Roth, who had an open frame in the 3rd, trailing by 19, working on a spare. Quickly to the line. That's more like it. 68 to the 4th with a strike up.
Roth most likely will like the right-hand lane the better of the two, Chris. He likes a lane that swings back very sharply at the back end. The left-hand lane, if he can hold it to the pocket without jumping high, he'll make an adjustment to the right now on the approach. And if he doesn't go high, he could really get it going in this match.
The man that finished second in the Showboat Invitational, yet to win this year. That one's sliding by 1, 2, and the 8.
Did not make the adjustment, Chris. And what has happened? The players, the right-handed players, have to play in the track or worn area between the second and third arrow. Roth sent that ball wide outside of that track or high-friction area, and it slid by the headpin. He's going to have to make a move to the right with his feet.
Mark Roth showing little expression, occasionally slapping his leg or moving his head from side to side. And now Paul Moser, leading by 19, shooting in the 6th frame, first match, spare up. Powerful strike by the lefty from Somerset, Massachusetts.
Moser, a versatile left-hander, can play the inside line or the outside line, Chris, but he prefers the outside down and in line. He's not a big hook player, and he likes to go straight with the boards, so this should be his best lane, the left-hand lane on the championship pair.
Standing room only crowd. Gets them all. And with that double goes out to a 29-pin lead in our first match, which will continue soon.
What do you think of the Midas foreign car muffler guarantee?
It's a great day for my Datsun.
A triumph for my Triumph.
A victory for my Volvo. From now on, you can Midas side.
Prior to this match, on the left, Alex Simpson, the Knoxville Sentinel, president of the Bowling Writers Association of America, presented Mark Roth with his Bowler of the Year award, and Mark getting it for the 3rd straight year. What a champ. Here in our first match, he's trailing by 29 pins, but in blue, he's up and ready, shooting in the 7th, spare, working the Miller High Life Open. That one coming in the 7th, 108 through 6.
For the power player like Roth, that's his best percentage. Keep it light. You won't leave the ring in 10 or the 4-9. But Roth has one dilemma. He has to start hitting this left-hand lane. If he goes too straight at the pocket, he can go high. If he goes wide, we've seen the result in the last 2 frames. He trails by 29, can cut it to 19.
Gets the 4 at the last minute. So there's a double for Mark Roth, the pair of doubles. Moser with the double. He's up and ready to shoot in the 8th frame.
The classic trip 4, the 3rd pin on the left part of your screen. Watch it go to the sideboard and get between the 4 and the 7 and do the damage. That's the hit the pros love. It was a savior for Roth in this situation. The lead is only 19 by Moser right now.
Crossing over, and oh, what a shame, leaving the 4-6 on the right lane.
With a little extra pressure, Debbie Moser, who is Paul's wife, who's a 170 average, definitely didn't like that shot at all. The 4-6, Moser will just go for the pin count. If he gets 1, his lead will be cut.
Ooh! Oh, so close. 154 through the 7th. 163 through 8 frames, and oh, how close it was. 5-pin lead. Watch.
Chris, actually foolish to go for this. The pin count is so important. To try to slide the 4-6 over, the pros figure it's at least 1,001 shot. Remember, you lose 2 pins on a double working like he did. Fortunately, he got 1, but the lead is now 5 pins, just 2 frames left.
9th frame. Well, leaving the 2-4.
Moser, who bowled so well the first 7 frames, has not been able to close the door on Roth, and now he has left it wide open. Roth knows the situation. 1 more strike. If Moser converts his spare, he'll have the lead for the first time in a match.
And the winner of this first match in our live coverage, meet Tom Baker. Chops the 4, leaving the 2, and that's 172 through 9, and the lead goes over to Mark Roth by 6 pins.
And what a benefactor of 2 mistakes of Paul Moser's. Roth with a double working leads by 6. I'll bet you he cuts this one loose, Chris. He's going to give it all he can to close the door.
Left the 10 pin. People off to our far right could not see the 10. You heard the cheers.
And that's the shot we've been talking about, Chris. Watch the second pin on the right-hand part of your screen, the 6 pin. It normally goes to the sideboard and drives out the 10 on a solid hit. Watch, it goes flying around it. And the theory that the players have had, see it just slide around, that the sideboards are a little wider here at Celebrity Lanes, causing the ring in 10s.
And with a lot of speed, Mark's with a spare in the 9th frame. Mark Roth and Paul Moser, 5-pin difference at this moment in our first match.
Roth with a double could shut out Moser. If he does not double, Moser has an opportunity to throw 2 strikes in the 10th and 11th frame and still take the match. 5-pin difference, final frame.
Another 4, I should say.
Roth, good solid shot, didn't want to go wide and open the door, but he also kept it in play. An educated shot for such a power player with what the situation has become. If Roth spares, he will force Moser to throw 2 strikes and a count in the 10th. That graphic shot at Garden City Bowl, Roth. 3 perfect games.
And in his lifetime or his career, Mark has had 17 300 games. Carefully looking at the overhead score sheet.
Chris, he needs a count of 7 or better to force Paul Moser to throw a double.
So the avid New York Ranger hockey fan. That's a big strike and shoots a 196. So here we go, a tight finish.
Paul Moser needs 2 strikes. He's collecting his thoughts, needs 2 strikes and a 5-pin count. The 5-pin count is almost automatic. The strikes are not. He has to take them one at a time. He needs this particular hit right now.
There's one. He opened with a double. Now he'd like to finish with a double and a count. What a match, Nelson. Last week we had close ones, and here we go again.
Whenever we have such a professional condition, Chris, of good lane surface, equitable left and right, all the shots work, we have tremendous competition. Once again, we have it this week. Moser must strike. If Moser strikes, he'll go on to meet Tom Baker. If he doesn't, Roth is the winner.
The 7-pin here at Celebrity Lanes.
And that's what we've seen all week, Chris. That solid wrap. It cost Moser the match.
So he covers the 7-pin. He will have shot a 192 to Mark Roth's 196. Tom Baker will next go against Roth here at Celebrity Lanes. We're live in Milwaukee. Mark Roth winning it by 4 over Paul Moser, 196 to 192. And now it's 25-year-old Tom Baker of Buffalo, New York, going against Roth in our second match in the Miller High Life Open Championship. Winner today, $21,000. This is our second match with the semifinal yet to come and the final match. Roth, shooting first, is on the left lane. Good mixing strike for Mark Roth to begin his second match. And for Tom Baker in red, you can adjust your color on your TV set with that shirt. Well, he's been an alternate a couple of times this year.
A player we haven't seen much of, but as the players on the tour know, this man is bowling about as good as anybody in the game today. Watch this style.
Nice and smooth, very, very high hit, a 3.6910.
Tommy Baker, an ideal style, 5-step delivery. Watch the second step. He steps across slightly in front of the left foot, gets his swing right in perfect position. Look at that, shoulders level, shoulder high swing, deep knee bend. A little pull on this particular shot, but you can see the potential.
36, 9, 10. And the 9 is up. So it's an open frame for Tom Baker.
Chris, that's almost the same shot as our tip we have this week. We have a bowling tip of the week on the 3, 9, 10. With the 6 in there, it's almost the same shot. Baker decided to play from the left side. We have a little different theory on the tip.
Do you show us how to make that combination?
Without the 6, it's a little easier.
Okay.
Baker averaged 241 on this pair, so he can get hot.
And he gets the strike after an open. Baker, who finished 6th last year on these very same lanes in the Miller High Life Open, looking for his first title, whereas this man has 22. Now, Mark Roth trying to double. There he does, turning the screw early, leading by 21.
Ross got it heated up. We said early that he could hit the right-hand lane. He likes the lanes when they'll swing back. He hasn't lost that lane all the first match and the second match. He seems real close on the left-hand lane now. It could be big trouble for Tom Baker, who is contemplating Ross' next shot.
Left lane, 3rd frame. For Mark Roth, his wife Jackie back in New Jersey, taping the show so he can look at it a little later.
And there's 2 hits that Roth loves to have. That power ball, keep it light, great percentage shot. Mr. Steady, Tommy Baker. Look at how he moves his hand trying to get a comfortable feel in the ball. Chris, he actually has a callus on his left hand from adjusting the ball on his right.
Yes, coming up at the last moment into the pocket. So Baker now with an open has come up with a double. There you see it.
The players know Tommy Baker, Chris. He is just an easy-going player, and he needs to be a little more aggressive in those championship matches such as this. He's always been an easy-going guy. You have to apply a little psychological pressure in the game of bowling. Tommy, on that last shot, he answered Mark Roth's 2 ripping swishers with another one himself. An important strike here to keep pressure on Roth. 21-pin deficit, can cut it to 11.
Got a re-rack on the left lane. Beautiful performance by 25-year-old bachelor from Buffalo, Tom Baker, trailing now by 11. We'll be back. Now it's time for Mark Roth to go to work, shooting in the 4th frame. He has 3 strikes. This is his second match, winning the first over Paul Moser, 196 to 192. A 4-bagger for Roth, wanting to win his first title this year. One year he won 8, 1978.
A PBA record that was once held by Billy Hardwick. Roth, 21-pin lead. Chris, he has had no good breaks in his 2 previous appearances on TV this year. He shot 249 in Las Vegas and lost the tournament, and 242 in Garden City and lost the tournament, so he's due a few breaks.
All but the 4, ending the string at 4. Man that's 1 and 3 in matches on TV this year, yet averaged 223.
Watch the 2-pin go to the sideboard. This is the hit that Roth carried in a crucial situation in the last match. Didn't get it this time. See, the 2-pin to the sideboard knocks out the 7, but not the 4.
Mark Roth, sort of the Gene Sarazen of bowling. In other words, taking no time after getting set to hit or stroke the shot. Now, Tom Baker, a comer.
See how he fiddles with that ball, Chris, just to get that real good feel in the ball. He doesn't squeeze the ball. He just lays it in his palm, and it has to be comfortable. He has a great wrist action.
And comes up with a 10-pin.
Yeah, what a spot. A solid 10.
How close does he come to the line?
The approach of Tommy Baker. He's much further behind the foul line than Moser was. Notice that. Way back. Just the various styles. The great Don Carter used to slide as much as 3 feet behind the foul line, Chris. Whatever you are comfortable with, and your eyes adjust the spot on the lane.
Way across the lane for the 10. Tom Baker, Buffalo, marks to the spare in the 5th frame. 88 through 4. Now he'll be shooting on the left line. A young man that missed the telecast last week by 8 pins. And he also held down the 6th position in the True Value Open here on ABC.
And he was 6th in this particular tournament last year despite a pair of perfect games. He definitely has a due of a victory pretty soon. It's not over yet. He trails by 21.
Two avid hockey fans. Tom Baker, who just shot, loves to play it and watch it, and here has to be the most ardent New York Ranger hockey fan.
Carries his own jersey with him every week.
And after opening with 4, he comes up with a strike in the 6th frame as we check his footwork.
One of the greatest talents in the game of bowling, Mark Roth. Tremendous natural talent. Watch his right foot as he drives through on his second to last step. The pivot step, as the players call it. He has one of the strongest in the world. Now look at his foot pushing through as hard as he can. Actually rips all the way around his body, and you can see it helping to impart the power to the ball.
Leaving the 4, the young man who is on the staff of Madison Square Garden in New York as a professional bowler.
Chris, he does an excellent job there, and he does an excellent job every place. Mark Roth is one of what we call a cranker, but he does have the ability to straighten that shot out and go straight at the pocket as he's doing on the left-hand lane. Tremendous adjustment.
All right, we're going to take a break at Celebrity Lanes in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Our live coverage, more after this.
The show you're watching today. Tommy Baker, strike working in the 6th, trails by 21. He's been perfect the last 5 frames, but he left a solid 10 in the 5th. There's a difference in the match. He would have been all even if he had carried that strike.
Looking for that first win. And that one just slid by. The 1, 2, and the sleeper 8.
The classic style of Tommy Baker is partly responsible because of his footwork. Now watch this second step, how it steps in front of the first step. And what that allows is the ball to swing right close to his body. Mark Roth does it. Many of the great players have a little second stutter step, and you see the loft and turn on that ball, but not enough to finish. The 1, 2, 8, cross lane.
Gets all 3. That coming in the 7th frame of our second match, the winner to meet Dave Frame. And then the tournament leader, top-seeded bowler, is Alvin Lou. Very exciting bowler from El Cajon, California. And meanwhile, from Buffalo, New York, he's got to start stringing them, trailing by 21. A 10.
And there it is again, the hit we talked about, the solid 10, Chris. The 6-pin just flies right around the 10. Dave Frame, who will bowl the semifinal match, he's not eligible for Firestone, as is Baker. Neither one of them eligible. Fred Connor is still 52nd on the bubble. Baker cross lane for the 10-pin. If he converts, we'll be trailing by 22.
Firestone 2 weeks from today, the finals. All right. Spare in the 8th frame of our second match, and if you just joined us, Mark Roth, who will be stroking, won the first game 196 to 192 over Paul Moser of Massachusetts. Harry Golden is our tournament director. He's been from the start, and a re-rack asked for and granted by the chief.
Chris, I must say that it has to be the second re-rack of the match. Each player is allowed 1 re-rack of spotting of the pins in each game. Roth has already had 1. This is his second. He has to get a ruling.
How could that happen?
Whatever he did, it must not have worked. But solid hit, an apparent perfect hit. Now watch this shot, a very unusual pin action shot. Watch the 5-pin right behind the head pin. Normally it takes out the 8. Watch what happens on this shot. Bingo. Look at the 2-pin actually impacted the 5 and helped drive it straight off the 8, the solid 8.
Well, that 16-pound ball finally got the 8. Spare for Mark Roth in the 8th frame.
As you can see on the scoreboard, Chris, Roth working at a 2:28 pace. Baker with strikes 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th would be 2:27. Still a very tight match. 9th frame.
In Milwaukee, a hint of spring outdoors. That's welcome. All right. And a big strike when he needed it in the 9th.
A crucial strike because it left the pin count at 8, Baker on 7. The situation becomes this. Baker needs to strike the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th to make Roth spare strike in the 10th. Baker backing himself into an almost must situation, has only made 2 mistakes in this match, 1 in the 1st frame and 1 again in the 7th. Has bowled excellent so far.
Hit the 4.67 for this 25-year-old 5'8", 155-pounder.
And on the lane that hooks the most, 64, you could see Baker putting a little extra turn on the ball, needing that strike. Watch the sharp break at the back end, just too much, and he has dug himself a hole, which I don't believe he can recover. He'll just go for the 2.
So an open frame in the 9th for Tom Baker. Incidentally, Paul Moser was defeated in the first match by Roth. Received a $5,000 check. The loser of this match will get 6. And the winner will go on. And the eventual champion here today in our live telecast from Milwaukee will get $21,000.
Baker out of the match for all intentional purposes, has a possible 203. Once again, he goes high. At best, he can shoot his 193. Chris, it's got to be frustrating. The guy has been bowling so well for the last 2 years. He runs against a near-perfect Mark Roth, who's bowled an excellent game. Baker, I talked to him before we went on air, said, I've been bowling so well on television in a finals match and just can't get a break. Maybe it'll be next week in Kansas City at the King Louis.
One more chance to get into the Firestone. Tom Baker.
Chris, while we have a moment, I'd like to send the condolences of the ABC staff and the PBA to Earl Anthony and his family. His father unexpectedly passed away this week. Earl had to withdraw from the tournament. Such a great man.
Leaving the 4, and it's a 192. The same number that Paul Moser shot in the first match against this man, Mark Roth. So Mark Roth now will go against an interesting bowler named Dave Frame from Baldwin Park, California. 34-year-old, 6'1", 160 pounds. That'll come next year on ABC. 216 to 192. This time over Tom Baker. And now, in match number 3, or the semifinal leading up to the championship, Roth will meet Dave Frame of Baldwin Park, California. A 10-year member of the PBA with 1 title. 6'1", 160 pounds, had a 184.5 average on this championship pair. Let's see what he'll do in his first shot, Bo.
Chris, contrasting styles. Watch Frame. He rolls the ball right at the foul line. Roth way out over the foul line. Let's see which one works.
Sliding by, leaving the 1-2.
Dave just completely lost the ball at the bottom of the shot. You see it just slipped out of his hand. He's trying to lay the ball right at the foul line. He feels he can carry the 10-pin better that way, but you still must get lift on the ball. The 1-2, a relatively easy spare to start a match with, but remember, Roth is red hot. He bowled a sensational game last game. The first 9 balls all solid in the pocket.
Now for the 1-2, the man that has a hobby of playing poker. And he's gambling against Mark Roth today in this semifinal match. Roth with 2 victories today, looking for his first title this year to make it number 23. He's on the right lane. The way he started the last game.
Something to say about their styles, Chris. Last night we were timing Mark Roth and Dave Frame, and Dave Frame takes exactly twice as long. Dave Frame takes exactly twice as long to bowl a complete frame as does Mark Roth. Not only are they different in the way they release the ball, but different in the amount of time they take.
Now going for a double, shooting on the left lane. sweeps them all. A double for Mark Roth. The winner of this game, our third, will meet Alvin Lou of El Cajon, California. One-time winner this year, so he can be the first double winner. But first, Dave Frame trying to unseat Mark Roth. Spare working, shooting in the second. Look at the fidgeting. Moving the feet, now forward. Whatever the adjustments were, perfect. Good pocket hit.
We can hear the resonance up here. As this ball hit those pins, he just crushed them. You watch a perfect strike. Watch Dave Frame. There's that roll at the line. You see it just barely over the foul line. But he's not playing the big hook. A good line lifted ball. Tremendous strike. Absolutely perfect. Each pin taking out each other. See, there's no temptation to leave the 10 pin there. See the 6 drive right into it. Frame, after seeing it in slow motion, has the right idea for carry in this particular house. Roll the ball at the line.
Wayne Webb, the alternate, looking on. Wow. That is a double for Dave Frame. A high hit and a smile.
The benefactor of a crossover. Once again, Frame has got it all going. Roth is still in the driver's seat, even matched through 2 frames.
And he crossed over but left the 10 after opening with a double here in the semifinal match. Live coverage from the Miller High Life Open.
The first errant shot of Roth in a critical situation since the first match. He crosses over almost the same shot that Dave Frame got, but Roth still got a break. On that particular shot, Frame shoved the 3 into the 6 into the 10 for a strike. Roth cross lane, straight ball.
And for the Miller Brewing Company, this is their second tournament of the year. Opening in our third week with the Miller Classic in Anaheim, California, won by Gary Dickinson.
All the players today are using polyester or plastic balls, Chris. No rubber balls this particular week. We're going on a urethane surface that hooks pretty much. The players seem to like the polyester. Roth going with a hard ball.
There's a 4th frame strike for Mark Roth, 69 through 3, and the match is down to 1 pin. Approaches Dave Frame. He now is shooting in the 4th. He has a double up. Leading by 1, he can increase it to 11 with a strike right here, going against Mark Roth. Third game. Leaving the 6-10 on the right lane, Dave Frame. Let's meet Bo's guest.
And with me is Alvin Lou. Alvin, you won from the number 5 spot, but now you're in the number 1 spot. Do you feel that you could learn anything by watching the players out there in the first 3 matches?
Well, it's really hard to tell because my ball reacts differently than theirs.
Outside and the right lane inside. What are you going to try to do?
Well, I'll probably play on both ends and try to go as straight as I can. That's when I had the best carry, and that's when I scored the best. So I'm going to have to just stick with what I had.
Chris, the man who's going to try to be the first 2-time winner on the tour from the number 1 position, Alvin Lou.
All right, now we're trying to determine his opponent. Dave Frame covered the 6-10 with relative ease, and now he's going over in the left lane, shooting in the 5th with a spare working. Remember, Roth has a strike up when he's back shooting in the 5th. And a 10-pin. Frame can't believe. But that's been happening to our first 4 bowlers here, and now coming in as our 5th Frame. He finished 2nd overall in this Miller High Life Open competition, and now he'll go a little bit to the left of center on the left lane to try and cover the 10. Remember, the winner goes into the final worth $21,000, $11,000 to the runner-up. Look at that time. All right. 3rd spare of the match. He has 2 strikes and 2-pin lead now, held by Mark Roth. And if you just joined us, he won the first game 196 to 192 over Paul Moser. Came back to shoot a 216 to Tom Baker, 192. Strike up. Now double. 12-pin lead by Mark Roth.
Roth, three-time player of the year, Chris, can be absolutely awesome when he gets loose and relaxed. He is waiting for that ball and throwing just the maximum shot on both lanes. And I'm not mean by going around the ball. He's using his wrist to lift up through the ball. A lot of players at home think you have to put your hand around the ball to get the effective hook. You have to go up through it. Dave Frame adding a piece of tape to his thumb hole. Help him to hold on to that ball a little more.
So it's 3 in a row and a 22-pin lead. And Bo, will it bother you when your opponent takes what seems like too much time?
Well, sometimes it will, but not really, Chris. I think that the players that win the most amount of money on a tour, as evidenced, Dick Weber, Earl Anthony, Mark Roth, they're fast players. They know what they want to do before they go up there on the lane. Some players like Dave Frame like the slower style, but I think it tightens them up.
Miss them quick. All but the 7.
The late Billy Whaley's great statement, trust is a must or your game is a bust. Dave Frame is pulling every ball straight at the nose. You must trust the ball to the right and trust your swing under pressure. You cannot pull it up to the nose in a PBA competition. There's no help there to stop the ball. Look at that cutting right through. Gets a break. Gets a break.
Does he stop near that foul line? Wow, he almost fell over. Stuck at the line. That's an unused portion of the approach.
Well,
even our statistician, Palmer Fogren, doesn't do well.
Trailing by 23, 6 frame, spare working. The great Mark Roth, his opponent, has definitely got it together.
Married, no children, 34 years old, Baldwin Park, California. There he gets the 7. And that comes in the 7th frame. And Roth is up with a 3-bagger and a 23-pin lead as Alvin Lou, the tournament leader, continues to warm up off to the right. He'll meet the winner.
Another solid 10. Roth definitely doesn't have the best carrying percentage of the two players because every time Frame is hit around the pocket, he's struck, but Roth is putting more balls in the pocket. You need control in every game. Mark Roth is an active player. Now watch the 6-pin on the right-hand part of your screen. Just barely missed the 10. It'll go to the sideboard after impact with a 3. There you go. Now look, it almost came back and hit the 10, just missing by a hair.
Back live, covering the 10-pin. And in the 7th frame, 22-pin difference between these two professionals. For Frame, 1 title. For Roth, 22.
This is Mark Roth's 45th game. He started on Tuesday, bowled in the Pro-Am. Chris, we had more than 2,200 people bowl in the Pro-Am. 1,100 juniors and 200 senior citizens helped make up that field. A tremendous credit to Milwaukee and the Miller Brewery Company.
And also some of the proceeds go to MS. All right, back striking, this one in the 8th. Mark has 168 through the 7th. Now Frame will be shooting in the 8th frame with a strike up.
Dave Frame, who is in the pro shop business in the off-season in the L.A. area, is in an almost must situation. He's going at a 2:06 pace, which is not bad, but Roth is traveling at a 2:28 pace. Frame could cut his lead to 12.
This year he's won $10,880. Roth has won $31,000. Crossover and leaving the 10. Big field, and let's take a look at some of the other top finishers.
192 players went to the starting gate. Wayne Webb, 6, had the only perfect game. Dennis Lane bowling much better. John Cocci from Las Vegas. Frank Ellenberg.
Dave Frame now cross lane on the right lane for the 10. And he continues to trail her by 22 pins in the semifinal match at the Celebrity Lanes in Milwaukee.
The reason that Dave Frame is so off balance at the line is that he's trying to stop to avoid fouling. He fouled, as you said earlier, Chris, a couple of times in practice. and he is trying to avoid it. Art Trask, who had a real good week. Marshall Holman, steady after 4 bad weeks. Peter McCordick came from way back. Mickey Hyam will be in his hometown, Kansas City, next week. Skip Tucker, Al Stone, I'm glad to see him bowling well. Tommy Baker's buddy, Joe Hutchinson, who won the AMF, and Eddie Ressler Jr. in 21st.
High hit, and there we have the 3-10.
Almost a must spare. John Johns, who once set a 241 world record average 2 years ago. Mike Albee, our leading money winner, over $40,000. And Denny Campbell, second week in a row in the top 24. And 25th spot was held down by a good statistician, Palmer Falgren, who just missed by 3 pins.
There's the way to convert the 3-10 and in the ninth frame.
That keeps him in the match. Without that conversion, he would have no chance. But right now, Roth with a strike will shut out Frame. Roth winning by 24 can extend to 34 and go on to the championship match.
All right. Double and a 34-pin lead by Roth.
Roth, a possible 258 game. Sensational under these conditions. These conditions on these lanes are ideal for the pros, but the man making the best shot is winning the most money. As Bill Taylor once said, the man who makes the most good shots over the longest period of time is bound to win the most money. Mark Roth is doing that right now.
Mark in his career is third on the list with $587,308. He'll be 29 on April 10th. Mark Roth, and he can add to his total today. Dave Frame, the opponent.
He knows the verdict. Roth will be in the 230s.
What speed, even shooting the spares. Of course, Mark Roth now has done as a couple of others have done this year. He's coming from that first match to just keep rolling and going.
Roth with a strike would be a 237 game. The highest game we've had bowled today. He's had every ball in the pocket. 234.
His biggest game thus far, 196, a 216, and a 234. His third win, and now he'll go against Alvin Lou for the $21,000 first prize. Over Dave Frame of California, 234 to 214. Great bowling. We hope you're enjoying it here in our 19th year and our 14th stop in a tour of 16 cities around the country. Each week, Nelson Burton Jr. comes up with our bowling tip of the week. There's an exception to the spare-making rule. Nelson is going to show you how to make the split, the 3-9-10 watch. You'll learn a lot. 125, the winner of this match, Alvin Lou on the right, 25 years old, from El Cajon, California, going against Mark Roth. For Alvin Lou, he has a victory this year. He could become our first 2-time winner, which is very unusual on the Professional Bowlers Tour. And Mark Roth, if he could win, would be a first-time winner, and he would take the money win lead. Just did not come up, the 1-2-4-7.
Chris, you can hear the crowd encouraging Alvin Lou with that Lou chant, but on the left-hand lane, you have to remember, we've seen it all week today, or all day today, the left-hand lane being much tighter. Lou has left what we call the fence, the 1-2-4-7.
Winner of the Rolaids Open, the 1-2-4-7. Today watching is Alvin's mother, Mary. Mark Roth has won 3 games in his brilliant career. He's never won a tournament coming from 4th or 5th place, nor has he won more than $15,000 in an event. All but the 4. That's the way Mark Roth opened in our championship final.
Mark Roth throws the big hook, Chris, but you see how he lifts through the ball so it doesn't snap so hard at the back end. He gets good pin carry with leverage and not by angle. You need a little amount of hook and a lot of leverage. Surface tension is the key. The ball is grabbing as it hits the pins.
All right. All even after a frame. We have to send congratulations to our producer, Dick Buffington, and his lovely wife, Rita, because Rita gave birth this week, after nervous moments for Dick Buffington, 9-pound, 2-ounce baby boy, Brian Scott.
Chris, I got to throw my little brother Neil in. He just became a father yesterday. Congratulations to Neil and Pat Burton.
Boy, it's springtime. And it's a strike for Mark Roth on the left side. Left lane.
What a break. He trips out to 4-7-10. Alvin Lou with that magnetic personality.
You'll hear them go Lou, Lou, Lou. Started in St. Louis. He gets rolling. You heard a little Lou, Lou. Not a boo, but a cheer for this delightful professional.
Alvin Lou, the style. It's low profile. He keeps the ball in play very well. Locks that arm, drops the right shoulder a little bit, but gets through the ball very well at the foul line.
Watch his reaction. Go get him. Youngest of 9 children. And there he is, down at the line, cheering on his second strike and a 10-10 lead against the great champion Mark Roth. All right, this is it for 21,000. The runner-up 11,000. Roth, strike up.
Needs a strike to tie.
Well, the 7-9.
Chris, he just hit real high and almost left the 4-7-9, which would have been a lot easier to make than the 7-9. Remember, the last time Roth had an impossible situation on ABC was in Alameda. He knocked out the 7-10. Watch the speed on this ball.
And no bounce out for Mark Roth, and it's an open frame, and it's a 24-pin lead for his opponent, 25-year-old Alvin Lou.
Mark discouraged, but definitely not out of it. 22 pins, a long way to go. Remember, there's 10 frames in a match, not 3 or 4.
And the pressure gets a little higher as we move along. Right back after an open frame, Roth. And a powerful strike in the fourth of our final game. We'll be back after this. 92 over Moser, 216, 192 over Baker, 234, 214 over Frame. So there's a double for Roth. Cutting the lead to 32.
Almost every frame a must situation for Roth. When you get down 42 pins, as the scoreboard shows, through 4, he cut it down to 32. With that double in the 5th, he can cut it to 22. But remember, there's only 5 frames left.
Leaving a 7-pin here in Milwaukee. Everywhere the name Eric Hayden from Madison. Big welcome home last week for all those in the Olympic team from Wisconsin. Getting all that information from our pal Bob Wolf. There's a spare for Mark Roth. This is the final game, and Lou is up 4 strikes in a row. He opened with a spare, now shooting in the 6th frame.
Listen to the crowd, and I asked Alvin Lou before we went on the air what the crowd effect had on him, and here's what he had to say.
The crowd really helps a lot. You don't know the feeling of having a whole house behind you. And when they start chanting Lou, 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 it helps pump me up. It relaxes me a little bit in a way that I'm kind of responding to the crowd, and it's not only me out there, but it's them out there helping too.
And right now, them has a 43-pin lead, 7th frame.
Mark Roth. Mark in his 4th appearance on the Professional Bowlers Tour telecast this year. 3 wins today. Leaving a 10.
Chris, you can see it in players in all sports. That last strike that Alvin Lou threw in the 7th frame, it took the wind out of Mark Roth. As in the fight that you did with Sugar Ray Leonard, you could see when the turning point was. That frame, I think Alvin Lou just what we call stuffed Mark Roth.
All right. The great hook coming into that 1-3 pocket. Lou, like Sugar Ray's hook. Got an analysis from Sugar Ray tomorrow on ABC, and his perhaps next opponent, Pepino Cuevas, the WBA welterweight champion.
That should be another tough one. Roth trailing by 54, still has a potential 226. Alvin Lou going at a 250 clip.
Nope.
Well, Mark, a little disenchanted with that hit. There's a solid 7. We don't get to see this very often, but this is a tremendous shot. Watch the 2-pin, which we usually say trips the 4. It's a third one on the left part of the screen. Go to the sideboard. Normally it takes out the 4 and 7, but the pin action was so strong, it left the 7-pin.
Fair in the 8th frame for Mark Roth, and a 55-pin lead held by Alvin Lou. He is 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighs 145 pounds. Now, on this championship pair, he averaged 211 and a half.
He's going to pick it up with this particular game.
Oh, isn't he? Tournament leader. Like that, he has a 7-bagger. He opened with a spare.
It's an exhibition now, Chris. How much can he get? The highest game we've had bowled this year, I believe, is a 269. Alvin Lou can shoot a 290.
Oh, boy. So, he's over in the left lane now. Powerful legs. Well, the 4-pin. Saluting the crowd. He appreciates. Happy with what happened down there.
And that's the way a tournament leader has to go after a title, Chris. We saw the tournament leader lose quite a few times this year. But Alvin Lou's going to be the 4th player to win from the #1 position, and he attacked when he was out there on the lanes. He has a tremendous game and his 2nd title of the year.
All right. Ah, his mom, Mary Lou, delighted. One little break, says Mark, leaving the 4. Alvin is the winner, but we're going to see the rest of the match here at the Celebrity Lanes. What hosts? The Miller Brewing Company, John Murphy, Larry Williams, Tom Shropshire, Bob Slaughter. 15 straight years coming here. So Roth, 3 wins. 234, 216, 196, but this was not the day. In fact, it's the 4th time this year in our telecast he hasn't come out on top.
Oh, he bowled so well today, Chris. He just ran into just a tough cookie in Alvin Lou. Alvin was not to be denied. Mark Roth, 10th frame. Best he can go is 204. He looked to the crowd. Where was that when I really needed it? Back around the 5th or 6th frame. The old trip 4. Roth with that powerful doll. Doesn't trip many 4-pins, but when you really relax, they all go down.
But in consolation, there is $11,000.
Which will put Mark Roth up over $40,000 for the year.
Right, and Mike Albee, $43,000, the leader. There's a double that he wanted way, way back. Alvin Lou, Mark's opponent, was runner-up to Mike Albee for the Rookie of the Year last year. But this young man, Alvin Lou, won the Steve Nagy Award, very highly sought sportsmanship award for '79. It was the first time a rookie had won that great honor, because it's voted by you touring professionals.
Yes, and it is a great honor. Nice guy. 203 for Roth.
And Alvin takes the hand of a 22-time champion, Mark Roth. Bull of the Year 3 in a row. Now Alvin Lou today has won his 2nd. He's been a member of the PBA only 2 years. loves racquetball, snow skiing.
And I can't think of a better way to